Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. I appreciate everyone for joining us. Today, we'll be discussing how you can deliver collaborative, high-value security services at scale with SOAR. My name is Chris, and before we jump into everything, I want to let everyone know that this session is recorded and will be shared after the presentation, and we will be conducting a Q&A at the end of the presentation, so feel free to use the control panel on the side of your screen to ask those questions at any point in time, and we'll help address those at the end of the session. Today we're going to be discussing, obviously, how for security services today, operating at peak efficiency has become table stakes, and winning requires innovation, high-value services, collaboration, you name it. And we're obviously going to go over how Siemplify and Check Point together can help expand your portfolio, offer new services, collaborate more effectively with your end customers, create efficiencies within the organization, and all of that great stuff. So with that, I'm going to introduce our speakers today. First, we have my man, Dean Pappas. He's our Director of Global Managed Services here at Siemplify. He's the man to know. He has a ton of great value for you today. And alongside him from Check Point, we have Bill Diaz, also head of telecommunications and their services organization at Check Point. And then the technical geniuses here, we have Gal from Siemplify, who's our head of global service engineering. And then similarly, we have Marco from Check Point, who also heads up their services and engineering team there as well. So actually pull up the slides real quick. Awesome. So I think with that, I will hand things over to you, Dean.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, and really exciting to have this cadence today to get into this conversation. So as we do this, we like to kind of give you a background on who Siemplify is, where we came from, and where we're going. And I call this our origin story. So Siemplify, clearly stated, is born in the SOC. The founders of the company that developed the platform managed the SOC internally at the IDF. When they came out, they built cyber ranges to help manage the process flow related to SOCs. And what we realized is back in 2012, 2014, processes were being developed and created. So we built cyber ranges out to help model and develop integrations that allowed SOC operations to communicate effectively. So as we've matured this in the service provider space. So we've scaled this, designed it around multi-tenancy, and our primary focus is to allow MSSPs to provide these services in scale and scope to your end customers and allow you to mature your end customers with automations and integrations over time. So very proud of where we are. We're extremely strong within the service provider space. Right now we have about 30% plus within the Gartner Magic Quadrant using our technology. Over 60% of the revenues of the company is based on this growth. And we are seeing hyper growth of interest in the industry, both with the large global tier ones, the outsourcing community, the consulting community, global telcos, tier two service providers, MSPs. The platform is really designed for this, and we're excited to get into that to be able to show you. If you understand a little bit of the difference between us and some of the other guys that came out of the market at the same time, Demisto did a great job of building out these automations as well, but their focus was on automations, and Phantom, having built out integrations, really focused on the ability to integrate these technologies together. So we all have the same pillars of focus. It's all, Python to REST in concept, but we built a robust platform around it with multi-tenancy, purpose-built to work with the MSSP community, and you'll see a lot of that today. Next slide.
All right. So thank you, Dean. So good afternoon and good morning, everybody, depending on what part of the world you're in. So thank you so much for your time today. Just a quick overview on Check Point. I think most of you hopefully know who we are. And for the few of you that may not be familiar with Check Point, We've been around for 27 years. We have an illustrious history in the world of cybersecurity. We've been traded on the NASDAQ since 1996, so we've been around for quite some time. In terms of security, we're one of the largest cybersecurity companies in the world. And again, you'll see some stats there around customers and partners globally. We are a full end-to-end security stack type company, the way I look at it, all around the major pillars, as I think most of you are fully familiar with, around network, mobile, cloud, endpoint, IoT, and workload. So those are our main focus pillar areas. And today we're going to talk a lot about our managed and detection services and leveraging the partnership between Siemplify and Check Point around SOAR. So in terms of our customers, we're a global company. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but I just wanted to give folks a little bit of an update, a little bit of a taste of the kinds of customers that use checkpoints today, covering globally. You have companies here both in APAC, EMEA, and the United States, across all the verticals that you can imagine here, from telecommunications, cable, software, transportation, retail, manufacturing, and healthcare. So again, just a little taste of us across all the different verticals. So quickly on the next slide here, let me start off with one of the exciting parts for me personally of this whole combined offering, this go-to-market with Siemplify and Check Point, is it really covers here. If you look at kind of the main pillars here and the main value points that I have here, the combined value between our companies here is pretty extraordinary. And as you'll see as we go through our presentation today and some details around the demo that you will see later this morning, you'll see that we have, we've really focused on a best in breed technology across the board here, both our security stack as well as the SOAR platform from Siemplify. You'll also see that we are all about automation, closing that gap, improving that visibility and that transparency between the MSSP, yourselves, the service provider, and the ultimate end customer. And we do that in a manner where we're leveraging automation, we're leveraging other aspects to ultimately improve for you the bottom line, to get you the return on investment that you're looking for out of these types of services and investments. And quite frankly, what we call time to value, right? The ability for you to actually realize. There's a lot of academic exercises that people go through in terms of business cases, but you will see here as we go through here that this is it's a pretty quick time to value, and it allows to protect your investments in what you currently have in place today, let alone as you make additional investments into this space. And then lastly, one of the other things I'm very proud of in this partnership and in this offering is that when you look at even ourselves, Check Point, we ourselves are a customer. We are providing certain services to our clients that we ourselves need to make investments and look at product. And one of the things when we evaluated all sorts of platforms out there, what really led to this partnership with Siemplify, quite frankly, is the SOAR platform from Siemplify is one of the only platforms that we evaluated out there. There's some terrific technologies, but one of the only ones that really had both the SOAR orchestration, the security orchestration functionality, as well as the event management functionality, the SIM logic. So that's one of the things, frankly, that sold us, is that we had both of those capabilities. You combine that now with the rest of the Check Point security stack, and you got yourself a very, very significant value proposition here. All right, let me go quickly to the next slide.
Yeah. So what sets us apart, Bill? Right? To your point, is we are a complete security operations platform. Gartner puts us into the SOAR category, which we love and could be more excited about. But we've really built this to design our ability to optimize a SOC environment. So we've built this from the ground up with multi-tenancy in it. So when you're when your MSSP is delivering services to your end customer, we provide a single pane of glass to be able to do that. That's done based on, enrichment being pulled in and then normalizing that information. In addition to that, we've got some patent pending technology around machine learning and around what we call threat-centric approach. This threat-centric means that in other scenarios, you would have an alert trigger a case, an event trigger a case, anything that would go in, each would align to that specific case. And our technology, we're able to marry all of those into one specific case. So the time to validate these things gets quickly reduced, and the automation process kicks in to allow these correlations, to allow the investigations to kick off much quicker. So very proud of that and our capabilities to do that. And, to Bill's point, the ability to transition from detection to prevention, right? If we reference, NIST cybersecurity framework, that's what we're all trying to do here as an NSOC is how do I get from detect to prevent? How do I become proactive and not just reactive? Detections are a key part of what we do, but we're able to kind of move that forward with prevention. And the way we do that is automate that checkpoint security stack that's out there. And also work with these third-party technologies that are in play today. So, Bill, you have anything to add on that one?
Yeah, thank you, Dean. Yeah, again, just very lightly, just to reinforce, again, what makes this relationship and this offering and this solution really special is really leveraging all of the things that you've just heard. And again, as we march toward a prevention world, right? I mean, that's really philosophically where Checkpoint stands. It's all about real-time detection, real-time prevention, I should say, and the detection of threats and the acting on and remediation of threats. So totally agree, Dean. Very good point.
Yep.
All right, so let me start off with this slide. So this is quite frankly one of my favorite slides in the whole deck, and I'll tell you why. When we first were putting together this webinar today, one of the things that we really wanted to do was convey that, the understanding, the things that we hear from customers and partners and people in the field and other operations folks and folks in data centers and in SOCs. And what's interesting for me in my own past life, where I've run operation centers and NOCs and all sorts of data centers, just about everything you see on the screen are relevant points that we recognize and we acknowledge are real-time issues that providers, MSSPs, and folks in the field are facing on a day-to-day basis, right? The amount of complexity, the amount of technology and vendors, and everybody's got a great story, and everybody's a terrific point solution. The amount of multiple customer environments and the level of maturity of those solutions, tremendous stress on operations and security folks, let alone folks that are managing network quality and that. When you look at the amount of information, alerts, false positives, all that kind of stuff that comes along, the alert overload, the ability to determine what's real from what's not and informational, right? You can imagine that most companies try to throw a lot of people and try to throw a lot of bodies to fix things, right? Along with software. But the reality is that at some point, you're going to blow up your TCO. You're going to blow up your total cost of ownership. And even the cost to deploy another system, right? Another OSS is kind of the way I look at it, if I'm dating myself a little bit here. So when I look at these kinds of challenges that the service provider community has, including, scalability, I mean, everything is good when you can control it. But what about when you're global? What about when you're in multiple sectors and segments? Now your systems and your networks and your applications are much more complicated, right? And then being able to, have a consistent view across the board. And most of these processes, at least the ones I've seen in the past, have all been very, very manual. So when you look at all these things, and then clearly, I kind of touched upon it a little bit around security tools, there are hundreds. I mean, if I take a look at one of our own slides that talks about all the tools that are out there, there are hundreds of quality vendors in the security space. So when I take a step back, these are the kind of challenges that the service providers and hopefully all of you out there would acknowledge and recognize, and we do as well. And that's why we're trying to design solutions that are simple, that are easy to onboard, easy to manage, to automate, so that you can reduce kind of your your overhead and redirect those things to more critical activities. So Dean, let me hand this off to you next.
Yeah, hit it on the nail, right? Quicker, time to value means return on investment, and be able to get your customers ramped on quicker and drive that revenue, right? So great points there, Bill. How do we solve this, right? What's our value proposition? So, the ability to increase those margins in a competitive landscape, right? The ability for us to develop these automations and increase efficiencies allow you to do that. The revenue generating opportunities is allowing you to go to market with new solutions, new detection indication solutions, new threat hunting packages, phishing strategies, anything and everything we support. We've got customers coming to us with unique use cases on a daily basis, and it's really exciting to see that we're able to help drive that revenue opportunity, because in a service business, it's difficult to maintain those margins, and we've designed our solution to really help advocate that within that community. Can't stress enough about multi-tenancy. We are the dominant player in that space, and the platform really tells a great story there. So if you're managing 1,000 customers in your MSSP practice, you have a single pane to do that, where you'd be able to manage all of those. So whether you're doing analyst groups in pods or align structures in a unique way, we completely complement that with your tenancy environments. But that also helps you manage your SLAs and your KPIs that you're delivering downwind. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Differentiating customer experience for us, this makes you kind of stand out, right? Stickiness in the business helps you eliminate that churn by providing a happy customer, based on red, yellow, green, which is what I've always used in my past. It's very active to be able to provide a value to your customer to keep them happy when they're in that green mode. They want to buy more from you. They want to buy more services from you. And obviously it reduces that churn rate. Operational efficiency, I can't stress this enough. It's very powerful, right? And we've designed this both on a sell to and a sell through model. So, internally deploying this platform, you're able to use less resources than normal. You're able to use less processing, less storage, less everything. Right, but it's also going to structure how your analyst team works. So instead of doing mundane level 1 validation, we're able to automate a lot of that process flow and increase that operational efficiency to focus on the risk related to your investigations. Because at the end of the day, time is our enemy, and how we can help manage time, right, is speed up our expectations on time to validate and time to respond and time to recover from an incident. And we're able to do all of that within our platform. It's very powerful. Open API, we integrate with everything and everyone. It's extremely powerful in a sense that now, we work and focus on what we call best of breed technology. So we don't have to come in as a service provider and say, I want to provide this service to you, but you have to use this technology. We can work with the tech that's out there, get you quicker time to value with your customer. And then as that technology, ends of life or the contract expires, the service provider is able to provide their best of breed technology to enhance that service. The Open API also talks with all of the technologies within the Checkpoint security stack. So it's a powerful message that we built together as a collaborative that really kind of expands on that story. The agnostic automation for us, or automation as a service, allows us to kind of maintain playbooks and develop these playbooks to allow for those new revenue generation opportunities and how they flow through. But the playbook automation that we have is built in our platform in our single pane. So we don't have to use a playbook off of a specific EDR. We own that process flow. So it's very kind of unique in that sense, and very strength and delivery is kind of stands out. And then the ability to reduce your burden costs as a service provider. I hear it every day. How can I help eliminate the upfront cost as we deploy our customers? And we've designed these go-to-market solutions related to that. So the efficiencies cut back on your burden costs, how we support your analyst teams internally, cut back on that burden cost to allow you to deliver a better class of service down through your customers. And we'll show you in a later slide how we develop purpose-built technology for the service provider community to use to help manage that end customer. So Now, we talked about this a little bit, but customer maturity, right? Coming from the space and, spending the last 10 years at Symantec MSS, we've seen a lot of different maturity over time, right? And the market in itself has matured. But how does an MSSP support a very immature customer compared to a maturing customer, compared to a highly mature customer? Each engagement is going to be unique and different. Siemplify allows a normalized process, so it doesn't matter the maturity of that end customer. We're able to provide the same quality and class of service, but we also enable the service provider to build out maturity curves to continue to show enhanced value to your organizations over time. So if you have somebody that's just getting in and you want to get started, we call that a fully managed environment, and the MSSP will give them visibility into what you're doing and the activities so they can see the gains and the KPIs associated, but the MSSP owns that responsibility. With collaboration, we've developed technology that allows the end customer to agree to automate via playbook risk that they can denote in their environment. So when they get that queued up to them, instead of having to let the internal team go and assess and decide and make that decision, which takes time, which is our enemy, we're able to automate that process flow. And once that approval or deny kicks in, the playbook continues down its process. We'll go through, put the blocks in place, put the tackles in motion, look at the analysis, and even close the ticket out. So it's a very powerful tool set to help you guys manage time and risk associated. And augmentation is really designed for a very mature organization, where the MSSP can help provide management and oversight in many different use cases, but the end customer still has the ability to develop their own playbook. So as we build this out, we're designing it for all levels of maturity, and the intent is to allow the service providers to mature your companies over time, which is going to, again, help reduce churn, increase time to value. Well, I got a lot of talks here. So this is something we're very proud of. This is what I call the MSSP end user customer experience. So the hardest thing that I've always seen in the industry is, how do I bridge the transparency gap between the service provider and the end customer? And a lot of times the end customers will have a SIM and they can see the things that you're seeing. So time is always something that comes into a play, but visibility and understanding the MSSP is providing these services is very profound. So I'm showing here just a basic component of somebody providing a SIM service with an EDR, providing an IR retainer, and they're marrying it to some threat intelligence as it goes in. But what we really do here is we're able to get my automation to work. There we go. Tie in the platform as a center pillar of the foundation, right? It's not an add-on to a SIM service. This is integrated directly in the core platform with it. And as we do that, we're able to deploy these technologies through the MSSP to the end customer to bridge that transparency gap. Happier customers mean customers that want to buy more services from you, as I said earlier, and expand it out. So as we develop these technologies, we're building these technologies for service providers like yourself to be able to help manage that visibility gap within your end customers and provide a better quality of service. So within the market, we see a lot of trend and flow trending towards MDR, right? EDR manufacturers are becoming more relevant. As they do that, they provide MDR as a service, and service providers also provide MDR and NDR, right? The ability to combine alerts and events and packets is the future, right? The more we can see, both real-time and responsive, the better we can respond to it. MDR is a huge statement with that. And what Gartner says here is the growth within these organizations from MDR is going to expand significantly. And this is with all verticals and all maturity size of the organizations. So empowering an MSSP to be able to provide MDR service is huge. But what we do is take it a step further, and love that we have a primary MDR or EDR vendor that you use. But if we work with all of them, and it's the same interface. So if you have a customer that has a technology that has a year left on its contract, we can still provide that same MDR service through the MSSP. And then once that contract terms out, we can migrate that over to best of breed technology or preferred technology within the MDR. So this is all time to value and how we can enhance it. But as the MDR business continues to evolve and alert-centric kind of modeling is really going to take over, we see huge capability and growth here. And Bill, I'll turn it over to you so you can get deeper into this one.
Okay. So thank you, Dean. Again, terrific journey that Dean has just taken us on in terms of how the building blocks of the service are. So what you're looking at here, folks, is really, this is the service that we're offering. This is the culmination of the joint offering here. So this is our managed detection and response service as powered by Siemplify. So Checkpoint will, has this today. We'll be rolling it out further over the next couple of months into the new year. And again, like I mentioned earlier, one of the things that's very proud for me is that we're actually using this ourselves, and now we're packaging this and bundling this in a manner that all of you folks out there can consume it, right? So we're sort of practicing what we preach here. As Dean had mentioned, I mean, if you look at the entire service offering here and what we're positioning and what we're promoting here, you're looking at, again, the ability to leverage the integrations. We integrate with everything and everyone just about. We've recently already done integrations around Microsoft Office 365. We've also integrated with Oracle Chronicle and all sorts of other applications. You're looking at a very overall and a very enriched platform for data. And again, the last thing you need to do is to continue to manage multiple single-sided point solutions. So obviously, as Dean had mentioned, through a single pane of glass, you got kind of an overarching way to manage, centrally manage all of your data. We already have pre-built playbooks and things that you can leverage in order to automate and to try to focus at least on the routine kinds of work that you do, so you can ultimately redirect your team and your most critical resources to other activities that you can do. So, and again, across the ability here to manage in a crisis and not have to, again, leverage multiple applications. You could do everything from your command center here. And then lastly, in terms of our overall metrics and reporting, you can have access to real-time data and provide statuses and things on as needed basis. So again, this is the overall end-to-end offering. This is for those of you that are interested in learning more. Again, Dean and I are both available. I think you have our information. We're both on LinkedIn. We're both all over in social media. So feel free, please, to reach out to me. We'd love to connect our teams, both Dean's team and mine here at Checkpoint, and we'd be happy to have further discussions. All right, Marco, let me hand it off to you now.
Oh, thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Pieces.
And great information from Dean and Bill about the partnership with Siemplify and the offerings that we have going on together, and transitioning into talking about how does this look for a service provider. As Dean mentioned earlier, we are seeing and we have seen that detection and response is one of the top priorities for service providers out there. And how is Checkpoint aligning into this vision? Like Bill introduced himself earlier, our group focuses on creating services with providers. So we are focused on building service offerings that are the priorities for the providers out there, with technologies from Checkpoint that enable those services to be built. So in the screen you see some of the technologies that are the pillars from Checkpoint that can enable those service offerings to be created. So whether you are doing EDR, right? Whether you are expanding your service offering into perhaps providing IoT. Maybe you're doing ICS SCADA for industrial control systems. Maybe you are expanding into providing detection and response capabilities for like healthcare or maybe traditional enterprises. Whether you're looking for SASE, SASE type solutions in the new era of securing data flowing to the cloud. We have a solution that can be provided and can be transformed into a service offering. Whether you're looking at a network as well, traditional networking with sensors, hyperscale sensors that can provide you the detection capabilities. Whether those sensors need to be not only hyperscale, but maybe they might need to be virtualized as well. So we provide the end-to-end solution, whether you're looking at, like I mentioned, endpoint, mobile, IoT, SASE, network, and of course cloud. Cloud is one of the most important areas that we have seen a growth on the interest on detection and response, right? Especially around posture management. Posture management has been one of the big areas of interest. Since Gartner announced that most of the issues in relation to incidents on the cloud, to compromises or breaches, will be related to human errors, right? So now, because of those issues that are happening, he opened up the door and the need for someone to be monitoring the posture and the detection that happens on the public clouds of the control plane. So with solutions from Check Point on the cloud side, we can provide and we can create a service offering together with you on the cloud. So not only from the posture management side, but also going into network security sensors in the cloud, whether you're looking into enhancing your offering with CI/CD pipeline, web application and API protection, workload security, whether it's serverless or not. As you can see in the circle, we're providing an end-to-end platform that can deliver solutions that can be pretty much added as building blocks into your offerings. And complementing those building blocks, we have the addition of Siemplify, the SOAR platform. So what is it that Siemplify is providing? Well, you heard all of the wonderful elements from the platform and the value that is adding into a SOC operation system, right? To pretty much allow you to monitor, investigate, hunt, and respond in an efficient manner. To not be focused on only events, but maybe take a more like an overall threat-centric approach. So there's no that event burnout that analysts will get by looking at logs that are coming in constantly, but now being able to do more with less and be able to increase your services without having to increase your operational expenses, right? So overall, Check Point and Siemplify are looking to do this, and some of the components of the solution that we're providing is something that Gal will be showing in a moment with the demo. Is the integration that we have jointly done together. The integration, what you see on the screen is already predefined playbooks that we have created and added into the marketplace. In order to allow organizations, large organizations or service providers creating services to leverage these playbooks and add them as part of like the use cases that they are going to use to serve their customers, right? So predefined playbooks, predefined use cases that you can test and you can run and you can drive them through the logic and modify and customize the logic depending on what your operational workflow might be. So this makes it a lot simpler to create services. So if you want to add, for example, CloudGuard, in order to add posture management, detection and response, and then you want to include maybe like threat hunting, in threat hunting sensors in order to feed the data into your detection and response capability, and user behavioral analytics. And maybe you're also adding threat intelligence from Check Point into the mix. You can add all of those into the playbooks and add it as part of the decision making chain that you will see Gal pretty much talking about in a moment, right? So with that, I won't take much more time away from Gal. I think Gal has some exciting things to show. But thank you all again for joining this. My name is Marco Garcia, Director of Service Providers here at Check Point. And off to Gal. Gal, all yours.
Thank you, Marco. Yeah, so just share my screen here, and really, I think that everything that you kind of showed as part of the slides really makes a lot of sense. And now let's see it happening right as part of the platform. And really, I think even before kind of jumping into features and functions, I think that for us, the bottom line is we didn't create this platform just for the only purpose of automating Python scripts, right? I think that's the easy part, and I think every SOAR platform out there can do it. It's honestly not rocket science, but we've really designed it from the understanding that unlike the rest of our customers, MSSPs and for MSSPs, your SOC is your core business, right? And so we've built this platform from this understanding on how we can help you do better, how we can help you improve, how we can help you not just increase your bottom line revenues and margins because now you automate and you're more efficient, but also how can we help you increase your top line revenues by being able to offer new services that you just can't offer today. And like Dean and Bill and Marco and everyone before me said, this is a very MSSP oriented platform. So I think I'll just start very quickly, kind of start from the multi-tenancy part. The platform is completely multi-tenant from the core. And that basically allows you to create different customers in the platform. And so you'll come across those names and logos of fictitious customers that I've created throughout the demo. But really what that allows you is to have full data segregation and grant different access permissions for different users in the platform. Now that also allows you to invite your customers to some sort of like a customer portal based on Siemplify, so they can see their own dashboards and collaborate with your analyst and see their own reports, and really sell those services and as services to your customers. And every aspect of the platform is really multi-tenant. So we'll see it throughout the dashboards, cases, playbooks, command center, integrations, and everything that will basically touch as part of it. Now, jumping to the cases part, which is really the place where the analyst will spend most of their time. As an analyst, usually I'll open a case and start investigating, kind of asking myself some questions. What really makes us unique with Siemplify is the ability to automatically correlate different alerts that came from different sources, by the way, and this is something that Dean touched on earlier, under a single threat-oriented case. The way that we work, unlike other SOAR platforms, is we get alerts from sources. And by the way, I've seen some questions about, do we need to use a SIEM? Do we have to use a SIEM? The answer is no. We use a SIEM. We have a lot of integrations with most SIEM products out there, but we can actually ingest alerts directly from security products. So if mid-market customers don't want to own a SIEM because it's expensive and hard to maintain, we can still work on those and correlate those alerts directly from EDRs, vulnerability management, cloud app security tools, etc. And so the way that we work is really, we get a lot of alerts from a lot of sources. It could be from your customer's remote SIEM, it could be from your multi-tenant SIEM, or any source that basically generate alerts. And what we do there is, before just getting alerts, opening a case, giving it to an analyst like other SOAR platforms would do, we try not to just make it faster with the playbooks, but really make your SOC smarter. And when we get those alerts, first of all, before just opening a case and giving it to an analyst, we get the raw data from the sources, whatever it is, right? QRadar, Splunk, ArcSight, Logarithm, just name a SIEM product. And then we automatically parse and extract all the entities from the data. So all the URLs, hashes, IP addresses, host names, usernames, whatever we can find. So we basically normalize all the data. So as an analyst in an MSSP, when I work with a lot of technology stacks and different technology stacks, obviously, I don't really care where the data came from, because for me, it'll look all the same. I have the Siemplify language. And that really allows you to expand your services into new technology stacks, because now you don't really care. You don't need your analysts to be experts on many products. And so basically, when we get those alerts, we extract those entities, and we basically ask ourselves, hey, is there any open case already which is being investigated by an analyst for a certain tenant, right? Because we're multi-tenant, and shares one of those entities in common. If the answer is yes, we will automatically correlate those different alerts together, even if they came, in different times from different products. And we'll put them under a single case. So the analyst that is already investigating something will just get more context into what they're investigating. So even as a very junior analyst in a SOC, first of all, I open a case. I can see all my customers' cases, right, based on those logos. And I can obviously filter, hey, show me all the cases that are relevant for that particular customer of mine because we're multi-tenant. And then I'll be able to see what happened, when it happened, and who's involved, and all of my answers, right? What happened, I can see that Siemplify has correlated 4 different alerts from 2 different products, by the way. 3 of them are about suspicious phishing emails. 1 of them is from a whole different product at a whole different time about data exfiltration. When it happened, I can see in a second, right, on my timeline here, which really shows me when each of the alerts were really fired from the different sources. As for the who's involved, like I said before, we automatically extract all those entities from the source of the data. So I can see really who's involved here, and all the entities are IOCs that took place here. But on top of what happened, when it happened, and who's involved, I already have all my answers from all of my products here. We'll kind of simulate a one together with a checkpoint in a second. And so basically kind of going to the playbook and seeing those alerts, we can see that we have this basically logo that says alert has a playbook. That means that when this alert was ingested into Siemplify, it has triggered an automated playbook that went ahead and went to my services and tools and brought data around, threat intelligence, made automated decisions, EDRs, etc. Now, like Marco showed beginning, we have a full marketplace that we build with our partners, and like we do with Checkpoint, right? Where we try to get you up to speed very quickly. So if I wanted to now automate a response around Checkpoint for malware analysis and response, right? Exactly for my MDR services, I can just go into my marketplace, go to use cases, run this use case, and that will automatically install my playbook, my integrations from the Siemplify marketplace, the test use cases, so I can actually simulate that which we'll do exactly now, and really get up to speed very quickly. And so kind of jumping to the playbook that as an example that we built with Checkpoint, which is available today in our marketplace, even in our community edition. Basically what we did is, and we'll simulate that and see the analyst view in a second, is that we built a playbook that can go and automatically do triage and even the response for my analysts. And so the playbook is very simple, right? It'll trigger based on a specific alert. So basically we ask ourselves, hey, let's trigger this playbook if the alert type contains the word beaconing, right? If we have a malware beaconing alert, let's trigger this playbook. What we're going to do from then is we're going to go to Checkpoint Sandblast and try to get information around the hash, right? Does Checkpoint Sandblast already familiar with this hash? If it is, we're going to create this insight that we've seen in the case, and we'll see that in a second. And we're going to see that kind of pop it out to the analysts, really show them the answer. Then we're going to go to Checkpoint Threat Cloud or Threat Reputation and try to get IP enrichment based on the entities that we have. If we found something, we'll pop an insight for that as well. Then we can go to VirusTotal or any other threat intelligence asset management source that you're using today as part of your MSS, and we'll try to enrich those as well. Once we've enriched all the information, now we basically can simply count, right? How many suspicious IP did we found based on the responses that we got from Checkpoint and other threat intelligence and VirusTotal in this case, right? How many suspicious hashes have we found based on the responses that we got from Checkpoint? And then we can make a very simple decision. So we can basically ask ourselves, if we got at least, in other words, at least one suspicious IP, right? So if the number of suspicious IPs is greater than 0, or the amount of suspicious hashes is greater than 0, then I want to make a decision based on that if it's a false positive or not. If it's all 0, then it's a false positive. We can just close the case and tell the analyst that it's a false positive. We don't want them to waste time on that. But if it looks suspicious, and if at least one of the hashes or URLs were marked as suspicious by Checkpoint Threat Intelligence and Sandblast, then we can actually increase and escalate the case. We can tag it as malware, so later on we can see insights and BI and dashboards over how many false positive or malwares we have. And then we can even ask our analysts, hey, would you like to block the external IP? Or in other words, for MSSPs, we can even integrate with your customer's ticketing system, and we can ask you, hey, would you like us to contact the customer? Yes or no? Based on the analyst response, or even we can invite your customer to make this decision as part of the customer portal. If the customer said yes, then we can go ahead and go to their checkpoint firewall and block the IPs and obviously kind of document everything as part of the case. So let's see how it looks like in an actual case for an analyst. So we can actually simulate the case, right? And kind of click on checkpoint malware beaconing and see the experience on how an analyst would see this when they are working on Siemplify kind of integrated with Checkpoint. And so basically you can see I have a new case right now that was simulated by Siemplify, which tells me that I have a malware beaconing, right? So first of all, when I open this, I see, some suggestions. AI and machine learning is suggesting me some similar cases from the past that I can actually see how similar they are and what other analysts have done. I can see all my entities, and in this case, it looks like we had an IP, we had other stuff, and we can obviously investigate and maybe click explore to really understand the context of what happened here, right? What are the connections and communications between those entities? And we do it, by the way, for every case in the platform. And so I can see that this internal IP has communicated with this external IP, which is the malware beaconing, because on my internal IP, we have found this hash, which now was marked malicious by Checkpoint threat intelligence, right? And so going back to our case, which looks empty, I can see that the playbook was already triggered and the playbook is already running. So while I was talking, the playbook has already been triggered. And we can see that really it started going, making the automated decisions, went to the Checkpoint products, etc. If I click refresh here now, you can see that I have a refresh to do. We already have all those insights popping out that we created based on the different results that we got from the different tools. So as an even junior analyst, I opened this case for the first time, and I already see who are the entities that I have, right? What am I facing with? Who is involved? I can see that Sandblast has told me about this hash, that the file name is this one. We can see the code, label, message, signature name, right? Every information, every piece of information, even the severity, which later on we'll make a decision based on that, is really in front of me as an analyst. I don't need to read JSONs and raw data and results. We can see that Checkpoint threat reputation told us about this IP, that the confidence is high, severity is high, classification. We can see other intelligence sources like VirusTotal told us that this hash has been found suspicious by 15 engines, right? And basically, it's very clear to me now, how do I want to escalate it, right? Now, I can basically now refresh the case and see that, it's tagged as malware. And as an analyst, or maybe as a customer that was invited to collaborate with you as a collaborator user, I can now make decisions and kind of work out those decisions with Checkpoint. So, or with my MSSP. So whenever I click on that, you can see that my next question is really, hey, this is all the information we've got for you. Do you approve blocking the external IP to your customer? If the customer clicks yes and click execute, we will obviously document it, so you'll know who took the responsibility on this action from your customer side. But you can see that the playbook is now keep on running and doing the rest of the actions. So if I refresh the case now, we'll be able to see that Checkpoint Firewall has told us that this IP has been blocked, and please investigate all the suspicious file hashes as well. So this really how's it looking for MSSP customer perspective for that matter. Now, everything that we do here, including case management, I mean, at the end of the day, we're managing your customers, we're managing your analysts, we're managing your integrations, your orchestration, your playbooks, your processes. And it makes it very easy for us to later on bring you BI on that. So what we've done is we've actually integrated with Tableau out of the box. And Tableau is one of the best BI tools out there that was acquired by Salesforce in, I think, $15 billion. And that allows us not to just show you pie charts, that I think that every platform in 2020 that respects itself will show you a bit of pie charts, but really give you real BI without any limitation to data representation or amount of data that you want to generate or see. And this can be shared with your customers. And this is obviously also multi-tenant. And we'll kind of see some customers report in a second. And so as an MSSP, I can get this internal MSSP monthly report that not just shows me, you know, how many alerts do I have, but really important information around where are my customers located and how many alerts are being generated from every customer in every region. Let's say I want to see what's going on with my East Coast customers. I can just mark them, and that will filter out the rest of the report that maybe will show me how, like, what are the top used product types in the East Coast out of my customers this month and last month, right? I can click on that and see that, you know, the threat intelligence engines that were used by those customers are those. But that really helps also from a sales perspective. Let's say you have a sales person and you have a lead in Oregon, right? And that salesperson wants to know which EDR to sell to this customer in Oregon. We can just click on that, and then we can see what EDR products are mostly trended in Oregon. In this case, it's Check Point Sandblast, right? And so I can understand and get more business intelligence into not just how many alerts and just a general SOC overview, but really what's going on in my SOC. And later on, even on those, if I wanted to get more information for my customers in Oregon that use Check Point Sandblast, I can click on that, and that will filter the rest of the report with what's my mean time to resolution that we're having for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 in my SOC over the last 7 months or so. And so over the last 7 months, I can see that from the Check Point Sandblast agent alert we got from customers in Oregon, which is very specific, tier 1 is definitely going down. Tier 2 is definitely going down. So the automation definitely shows the return on investment, but it looks like my tier 3 has started going up. And that might mean that maybe I don't have enough automation on threat hunting. Maybe that means that we started offering new services and threat hunting services around Check Point Sandblast agent in that region. And our tier 3 analysts are not trained enough on how to do that quickly. But that really gives me a lot of visibility on those, including obviously, generating alert types. And obviously we can show those and filter the rest of the reports based on types of alert that we're getting, as well as, by the way, customer reports. And with that, I'm kind of finished here, is that you can generate your customers not just a PDF, right, to send them once a month that, manually somebody is writing for them, but actually invite them to work with this live report that they can filter and get a lot of visibility on what you're doing for them, right? First of all, everything here is exportable. So if you wanted to export it as a PDF or a PowerPoint or as an image, we can definitely do that. But just imagine that you can invite your customers, and you can see that this is definitely multi-tenant. So every customer will be able to see only the reports that you share with them based on their tenant. And as a customer, I see this live report all the time that says, you have 290 open cases. These are the open alerts, incidents, important cases. You can put an executive summary. Here's the funnel of all the cases that are open based on their stage, right? I can see that most of them are in triage, some of them are in improvement, some of them are in investigation. By the way, we can filter those as well to get more information on those. We can see, or you can show your customers the open cases per priority, but most importantly, how's your SLA going, right, for every alert type? Let's say that your customer now wants to see what's going on with their phishing email that's exceeded SLA, not exceeded SLA. You can click on that, and that will filter the report to show you that all the phishing alerts are now in triage, and those are the that's the distribution of priority for all the phishing alerts that are now under control over the MSSP, which are 74% of the phishing emails. So I think you guys get the idea. But that really gives you the ability to sell services that are not just a black box to your customer, but actually give them visibility onto what you're doing as their MDR, MSSP, and to what they're getting and what their SOC is all about. With that, back to you, Chris.
Unmuted. Awesome. Thanks, Gal. Thank you, guys. Gal, thank you for that demo. That was fantastic. Thank you, Dean, Bill, Marco, for the presentation. lot of value added there. So just a reminder, we'll start the Q&A now. So if you have any questions, feel free to use that chat panel on the side of your screen. But I think the first question, which we get all the time, and Gal, I know you touched on this during the demo, but we'll ask it again. And then Dean, if you want to come over the top at the end, to add any additional information, feel free. But do you need a SIM basically to deploy SOAR, or can you deploy SOAR without a SIM solution?
Yeah, so the answer is yes. You can deploy a SOAR without a SIM. It might not be ideal because a SIM is really a good database and they're doing a lot of data management. That's where usually we want to be. But for those mid-market customers who don't want to own a SIM and just want to buy MDR services, and they don't need to buy a Splunk or a QRadar for that, we can actually ingest those alerts directly from their EDR or vulnerability management tool or cloud app security like Dome9, Threat Cloud, into Siemplify directly without the need of going through a SIM. Yes, a SIM will be better in the way, and out of regulations, usually customers would need to own a SIM, but it's not a must.
Yeah, and Chris, I'll add to that it's all about maturity, right? So if you have a target audience or vertically you're going with SMB or kind of on the lower end of the mid-market, they may not have budget to have a SIM provided as part of your service. So you can provide the Siemplify solution down to that end customer. They do not require a SIM in order to function. To Gal's point, most, if not all of the MSSPs we work with have SIMs for events, right? They use us for alerts based on EDRs and as they trigger. And we're starting to see an expansion of network detect, right? Packet capture analysis, probe on-prem. So packets combined with alerts, combined with events is the story, and it's a very powerful message to deliver. So
awesome. And kind of a related topic for both you, Dean, and Bill. How do we support both on-prem and cloud models, and how well do we support cloud security tools when it comes to cloud data centers like AWS, Azure, Google, private, public, you name it?
Yeah, I mean, I could start off, and Marco and Dean, please jump in here as well. So from my standpoint, yeah, we have integrations, and we support all three of the big cloud players, both public and private, in a hybrid model. We do support all that. Marco and Dean, go ahead.
Yeah, of course. To add to what Bill is saying, we have solutions in order to provide detection capabilities and prevention capabilities on public cloud, from the control plane and the data plane, what you guys will know as posture management, or traditional segmentation gateways or threat hunting sensors or devices, and expanding into serverless and workload protection, what we are expanding. And that mix in, that combined with what Siemplify is providing, I'll let Dean expand into that. It's a tremendous value add to create a service around the cloud.
Absolutely. Hey, by the way, great question. If it takes three of us to answer it, isn't it? Gotta love those ones as they come in. Keep them coming. Really simply put, from Siemplify's perspective, we actually developed a lightweight Linux-based agent that will deploy on-prem and communicates over SSL. It talks back to our publisher, which kind of dictates all the process flow around playbook automation. So when we have on-prem requirements, we deploy that agent. That agent will grab that information. If it's SaaS to SaaS, we actually just do API call on the Open API model. So we're able to support both, normalize that in our platform, and then make that story seamless.
Awesome. Question back to you, Gal, and again, anyone else, feel free to chime in. But when you correlate extracted entities from multiple tenants, separate customers, etc., how do you avoid cross-pollination of sensitive data in the case?
Right. So the platform is completely multi-tenant. That means that different customers won't be able to see different entities from other customers. The same for analysts. So basically, I'd say we don't collect any new information that you don't already own, right? We collect the data from your SIM. We collect the data from your threat intelligence. We don't collect any new PII that you don't already own for your customer. And with that, I know that we have different customers where we work in a model where we get only the external information for their tier 1, for example. So we can choose what to get when we query or get information from the SIM. And that means that for different customers, we can get only external entities like IP addresses or external hashes or external host names. We run our enrichment on those. And if we found anything suspicious, when we escalate to tier 2, only then we go back and get private or personal information. So tier 1 analysts can't really see that data. And you can really choose which person, first of all, if we even collect that. Second of all, which person in the platform can actually access that information.
Awesome. And
Excellent.
one more question real quick, related to permissions, user management, and even custom dashboards and reporting. Obviously, you've mentioned multiple times that we're multi-tenant, but how are you able to, or are you able to create different user permissions and dashboards and reports based on function, whether it's internally for an analyst versus a manager, as well as externally for customers?
Yeah, so we have a very granular permission mechanism within the platform. And that means that for every module or submodule in the platform, you can create basically permission groups. And out of those permission groups, you can really decide which groups of users in the platform can see which aspects of the platform. So you can really decide, even if you invite your customer, obviously you don't want them to see your playbooks because that's your IP as an MSSP. You don't want them to see your settings or IDE where you write your code. And you can decide to have different groups with permissions to allow different users to see really specific aspects of the platform.
Yep. Yeah, I would also add, the operational efficiency side of this is the reporting mechanism that we have to help deliver for the end customer visibility is also used internally, right? Because the analyst team, how long did it take this analyst to do this research? What's the window on time to validate compared to time to resolve, time to kind of investigate. So as the metrics, which I know are hypersensitive in an internal MSSP's environment, we're able to help deliver both internal efficiencies on that based on how the analysts are consuming the tools and how they structure their environment, but also, bridge that transparency gap for the end customers. So it's a powerful message there. Good stuff.
Thank you, gentlemen. So with that, we will wrap up the Q&A. Before we go, I did want to quickly mention that here at Siemplify, we do actually offer a community edition of our product. So if you go to our website, you can download a free version of our product, and it actually comes with ready to deploy integrations and use cases, obviously including Checkpoint. So we integrate with their entire suite, and we have pre-built use cases that you can start running, pre-built playbooks, everything, you name it, to go from 0 to hero in just a few minutes. So feel free to check that out as well. And again, I want to thank everyone who joined us today for this presentation. I hope you gleaned some value from this. And I also want to thank all of our presenters today. I think fantastic presentation, fantastic demo. So thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, appreciate your time.